administration, but to family members, checking on them. We know how this can impact you. But we're ready for the unexpected. This is New York City, and we respond accordingly. We will continue to update New Yorkers as we get more information. And I will now turn it over to Commissioner Isco.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to my colleagues for their quick and speedy response to this. I'm pleased to report that there are currently no major impacts or safety events related to this earthquake. We're asking all New Yorkers to call 311 to report damage or any issues that you're having. Also, if you have any need for disaster assistance due to damage or anything like that, please call 311. That is the best place to refer those needs. If you have a life safety issue, please use and call 911 immediately, but preserve 911 for those life safety events. The team acted immediately. We convened our emergency response teams and issued guidance to the public. The likelihood of aftershocks remain low, but we do remain vigilant, and we ask all New Yorkers to remain vigilant as well. We activated our protocols for this earthquake. We immediately started coordinating with all city, state, federal, and our utility partners. Public notifications were sent out both by Notify NYC and our wireless emergency alert system. You can hear some of the phone buzzings and delays from that have been issued. As soon as it happened, we convened here at New York City Emergency Management in order to be able to send out guidance. We activated, as soon as it happened, we convened here at NYSEM to send out our guidance for what happens during an earthquake, including on the possibility of aftershocks. We contacted our City Hall and agency commissioners, as well as all of our partners at the federal and state level. That also includes all of our utility partners, our transportation partners at the MTA, Port Authority, and the airports. While there is a low likelihood that there will be aftershocks, we always want to be on the safe side. So if you are outside during an aftershock, please move to an open area away from buildings, trees, and power lines. If you are driving, pull over to a safe location. We're asking people to check in on their relatives, on their loved ones, neighbors, especially the children and their other individuals. I think that this is also an incredible time just to remind us all to make sure that we're prepared. So if you are a New Yorker, if you're visiting New York, we encourage you to sign up for Notify NYC. This is available in 14 languages, including American Sign Language, over 1 million subscribers. You can sign up by calling 311. You can call up by downloading the app or by going to nyc.gov/notify. We also encourage people to make sure that they have an emergency kit and to make sure that they know the guidance for earthquakes, which, as the mayor said, to drop, cover, and to get under furniture, sturdy furniture, or in a doorway to make sure that you are safe. Please also make sure that you're checking your utilities, that you know how to turn them on and off, especially if you are a property owner. With that said, who am I turning it over to?
Chancellor Banks.
Chancellor Banks. I'll turn it over to Chancellor Banks for an update on the schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. So the earthquake was felt across the entire city and across many of our schools across all 5 boroughs. In fact, I was at LaGuardia High School at an event this morning when the earthquake hit. I did not personally feel it, but many people in the room felt it. So first and foremost, what's most important to understand is we want to emphasize that we've received no reports of any injury to staff or students. And that's the most important thing, and safety is our top priority in ensuring that everyone is safe in our schools. Immediately following the earthquake, our teams, both within the New York City Public Schools and across the city, immediately jumped into action. We've been in close and constant communication with City Hall, the Office of Emergency Management, School Construction Authority, and other agencies as well. So at this moment, there is no indication that any of our buildings were compromised. And our facility staff at the school construction authority are quickly and thoroughly inspecting buildings to ensure safety. And out of an abundance of caution, we've assembled all of our building response teams as well. So we've instructed all of our school principals to continue operations and dismissal as normal. We ask the school staff and families to remain calm and to model that for all of our students, all of our children. Parents do not need to pick up their child early as a result of today's earthquake. Additionally, all after-school programs will continue as planned. If conditions change, our schools will communicate directly with families. We also will post updates on our social media pages, which can be found at NYC Schools. I want to thank all of our school staff and our facility staff for keeping our students safe during times like these. Their professionalism in the face of an emergency is a role model for all of our students. Again, the top lines, all of our students across the school system are safe. All of our staff are safe. We have no reports of any structural damage to any of our school facilities, while many schools in fact felt some tremors from the earthquake. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chancellor. Next, we'll hear from Buildings Commissioner Jimmy Otto.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Let me say right at the outset that we at the Department of Buildings have not seen an influx of calls regarding building damage. But we want all New Yorkers to know that our team is ready. We are putting on additional construction and engineering professionals from this point on over the weekend. So if reports do come in, we will be ready to respond. Our construction enforcement unit is out doing inspections similar to what we do prior to big storms. There are 1.1 million buildings in the city, which means we need cooperation from construction professionals. We've messaged that to them, but let me take this opportunity again to remind all of our construction professionals, you need to go out and check on your buildings, even if those sites are closed, and determine that the sites are secure. And if you see any conditions that are troublesome, please reach out to the department. This is a time for that tried and true saying, if you see something, say something. So to New Yorkers, we at the Department of Buildings are concerned about some of the downstream possibilities, cracks that you might see that may materialize and manifest in a week or a month, or scaffolding, retaining walls. If you see something that is problematic, please call 311. This weekend, we will have an increase in our emergency response team. We've mobilized our borough operations and our special ops folks so that if our sister agency, the fire department, or any of our partners in government or the public report an increase in locations, we are at the ready to respond.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we'll hear from Con Ed President Matt Ketchke.
So thank you. So for our energy delivery system, energy infrastructure, there were no impacts from this event. We continue to monitor them. Our critical energy infrastructure is continuously monitored. During the course of the event, we saw no change in status for our energy infrastructure. We do have a series of protocols for after an earthquake event. We have initiated those. Those involve inspecting our critical facilities and working through all our facilities for inspection. Those inspections are ongoing. We haven't identified any issues. In the case of an earthquake, one of the things that from the energy side we would be concerned about is the potential for gas leaks. So I encourage, if you smell gas, either call 911 or 1-800-75-CON-ED and report the gas leak. Do not assume that somebody else has reported. So if you smell gas, call us or call 911 immediately. Otherwise, we'll continue our inspections and all looks good.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Next, we'll hear from MTA CEO Jano Lieber.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor Adams and Commissioner Iscol. I want to reassure New Yorkers that the service on the transit system, all aspects of the transit system, maintained continuously, operating safely throughout the incident, and has continued right to now. I've been in touch with the president of all the MTA agencies, starting with Bridges and Tunnels. Kathy Sheridan, the president of MTA Bridges and Tunnels, is here. but also New York City Transit, Long Island Railroad, and Metro North. Initial inspections of all the facilities have been completed, and there are initial further inspections ongoing, emphasizing that the 7 bridges operated by MTA have been inspected, and I want to emphasize those were designed to withstand much stronger seismic impacts than we experience today. Our frontline staff across the system have been instructed to report any abnormalities. There have been none so far flagged. And of course, we're going to continue to monitor the situation very, very closely. We have an open communications bridge with all of our MTA agencies to report, as I said, any abnormality that they encounter. So far, the input on that has been 0. We're going to let riders know if there are any impacts to service, but there are none. Just as the Chancellor said, the school system is operating fully, so is the MTA transit system without disruptions caused by the earthquake. I want to thank Mayor Adams, your entire team, and also Governor Hochul, with whom I've been in touch, for their leadership throughout this challenging moment for the city and the region. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Finally, we'll hear from Manny Castro from the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs for a few words in Spanish.
Muy buenas tardes, soy Manuel Castro, el comisionado de Asuntos de los Inmigrantes de la Ciudad de Nueva York. Hoy estamos con el alcalde Eric Adams, los comisionados de varios departamentos de gobierno de la Ciudad de Nueva York para asegurar a los neoyorquinos que no estamos viendo ningún problema en nuestros servicios, ya sea de puentes, de escuelas y otros servicios críticos dentro de la Ciudad de Nueva York. Reconocemos que hay ansiedad sobre el temblor que experienciamos esta mañana, pero por el momento no hay nada que reportar. Seguimos con nuestra vida diaria, pero reconocemos que hay temor de que sentimos otro temblor, y si ese es el caso, tomar cobertura, seguir las recomendaciones durante los temblores y tener la calma, porque eso es lo importante en estos momentos. Muchísimas gracias.
Over to a few questions.
Mayor, first of all, did you personally feel the earthquake, and if so, can you describe it? And then I have a quick question for Commissioner Otto.
No, I did not. I was at Gracie Mansion at the Youth Gun Summit, and I didn't feel it. My security detail brought it to my attention.
Commissioner Otto was talking about downstream effects, that maybe things that people don't notice right away. Do you have any calls from any of the buildings in the city, a broken mirror, a crack, something that you wouldn't describe as major damage, but as evidence of the earthquake?
Yeah, as of 30 minutes ago when I arrived here, we had seen no reports coming in, but we obviously will monitor and will respond accordingly.
Yeah, we're also monitoring 911 calls for the same thing, often to be referred to our agency partners if they are not major but still important. And we've seen a very, very minor increase. We've got about 30 additional calls than we would typically get on a Friday, and none of them were for major incidents. We will monitor for the rest of the day, of course. We will refer them as needed and make sure that anything, and I'd like to reiterate what Con Ed said, especially odors of gas, is referred accordingly to make sure that the infrastructure is safe.
Stanley.
Could you walk us through what the process is of inspecting all the bridges as well as the tunnels in the subway system right now? What is the process?
Kathy, come on up. Sure. Want to talk about the bridges?
Sure. So good afternoon. I'm Kathy Sheridan, president of MPA Bridges and Tunnels. So we go out and do preliminary inspections. They were dispatched within about 5 minutes of the earthquake occurring. All the preliminary results came back negative, no impacts to our facilities. We have also mobilized all of our structural inspection teams, which do our biennial inspections on a regular basis. So they are now out on the ground. We expect to have results from them by 4 p.m. But again, we don't expect an earthquake of this magnitude to have any impact on our facilities.
Oh, I'm sorry, could you just, with the tunnels and the subways, what's the process for inspecting all those?
So for the subway, I won't talk about the subways. I'll let the chair talk about that. For our 2 tunnels, the Hugh Carey Tunnel and the Queens Midtown Tunnel, tunnels are very resilient for seismic impacts, so they move with the ground. So again, it's a hands-on inspection. We go and do visual inspection to see if there are any damages.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same in the subway system. We have folks who routinely walk the track and inspect structure as well as track, and those protocols are in place.
Emergency Management Commissioner, that Notify NYC alert went out about 20 minutes, a little bit more after the earthquake. The deputy mayor was tweeting, the governor was tweeting at that point. So I guess why did that go out so much later than the actual earthquake?
The notify message? I think 20 minutes time to target is pretty fast for public notification. First off, there's a lot of work we have to do to make sure we're getting confirmation from USGS that this was actually an earthquake, right? There's a lot of things that can cause buildings to shake. Two, we also need to make sure we're putting out the proper guidance. But 20 minutes is very, very fast for a public notification.
USGS actually tweeted about 5 minutes after it happened, though. So again, where's that 15 minutes?
Well, in addition to that, they are confirming that there is a earthquake. Then there is also making sure that we're updating the guidance, right? In addition to that, with Notify, as you know, we put this out in 14 languages, including American Sign Language. Thank you.
So, Zach, maybe it would be helpful to say also if there's a difference between during an earthquake and after an earthquake.
Yeah, so there's also guidance that's different for both during an earthquake and after an earthquake, right? So during an earthquake, we want to make sure people are following the proper guidance, that they are staying inside a building, that they're getting under furniture while the earthquake is actually occurring. But then also we need to make sure we're putting out the right information so people know what to do afterwards, that they're taking the right precautions. You've heard some of that from our partners at Con Ed about gas leaks, about what to do if there are aftershocks, about whether or not you are informing people that they should be going about their normal course of business, or whether or not there is a high likelihood of aftershocks, right? So all of that needs to be confirmed to make sure we're getting the right information out to the public. That takes a little bit of time, but I think our team did a remarkable job today in getting it out to the public.
Commissioner, could you walk us through what the city's protocol is when you are suspecting an earthquake? What exactly happens?
Well, this is a no-notice event, right? So there's no suspecting an earthquake. A no-notice event, unlike a weather event.
What do you launch into once you say, hey, we think this is what
Yeah, so the first thing in any type of emergency, whether it's a notice or no-notice event, a no-notice one being, an explosion, an act of terrorism, a mass shooting, something that was not forecasted, unlike a weather event. But in these cases, the number one thing that you're looking at is, are there concerns that are life safety concerns, right? Are we getting an overwhelming number of 911 calls? Is the fire department, do we have collapsed buildings? Is there an emergency response that we need to immediately respond to? Number two is then checking in with all of our partners across the city to make sure that there are no cascading impacts that we also need to address. Are there things that, while there might not be life safety events, are there issues to our utilities? Are there issues to our transportation networks? About our schools? That was one of the number one concerns, about making sure that everything is okay with our kids who are in schools today. Then the next piece of that is also, at the same time, getting information out to the public, making sure that it is the right guidance, given the circumstances, given the projections for what might come next. All of that is what the team is doing here, and coordinating with all the incredible partners that you see behind us. Thank you.
Anyone, Mayor, and I don't know if this would be for a team member or not, but anyone using their cell phone in the last hour knows it's been difficult. We've heard your administration give the warnings about when to and when to not call 911. Is the 911 system getting a little overwhelmed right now? Or are you worried about the cell phone towers?
As far as the 911 system is concerned and the 311 system, we've seen an uptick starting at 10:30, and it's subsided to its normal call volume by 11 a.m. Right now, it stands at its normal call volume.
Any read on what's going on with the cell phone towers and any concerns about that?
One thing also I would just point out, we had an uptick in 311 calls. Obviously, we know there was an earthquake. Our teams are on the ground, so we don't need that anymore. Thank you very much to New Yorkers.